Welcome to the Everything Actioncast, the official podcast of everythingaction.com.
Hello and welcome to the Everything Actioncast, the podcast for the week of December 4th, 2023. I'm your host, Zach.
I'm a co-host, Chris.
And we got tons of diving this week, so let's jump right in. And we got to kick things off with a ton of trailers that came out of CCXP, which is basically Brazil's equivalent of Comic-Con, like San Diego Comic-Con. That's a huge convention down in Brazil. And all pretty much like Amazon was down there, Warner Bros. Down there, Paramount was down there, like a bunch of the major studios were down there showing off new stuff. So we got a ton of trailers, like tons of first looks at a bunch of stuff. And we got to kick things off with the Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire trailer. First look at the new MonsterVerse movie, which is coming out. I believe it's coming out in April next year, April 12th. And it seems like it's definitely quite a ways after Godzilla versus Kong, because like Kong is now like he's like gray and like aged apparently, looks like, and then I think Godzilla's also been kind of hibernating or like in a cocoon, like gaining more powers or getting some sort of new powers, because now his like radiation blasts like are pink or like magenta colored. But there's some sort of new threat to the Hollow Earth that is threatening the Hollow Earth and Earth, or like surface Earth. So then they have to team up to stop this new threat.
I don't understand where Godzilla just vacations in the Arctic.
Well, he
be going around just sort of protecting Earth or his territory. I don't understand how he just goes and takes a nap now.
Well, his home in like that like underwater, like that like magma that like Ken Watanabe goes to, and like that needs the bomb to like recharge him. Like that's always like blown up because of the nuclear bomb. But yeah, he's definitely like he's in some sort of like cocoon or like crystal or something. Like hopefully there'll be some sort of explanation of like what he's like up to, or like
yeah, you just
powering up. Yeah,
and be like, oh no, he just does this. Like what?
Well, because it's weird too, because like he gained like fire powers from Mothra in King of the Monsters, but then he didn't use that at all in Godzilla vs Kong.
Well, because it'll just be a super unfair fight.
Yeah, I feel
lit him on fire.
That was like it must have been like a one-time power up or something.
It was the power of friendship that
did
that. But yeah, I guess he cocoons to get pink, so that's new.
Like to amp up, and then it seems like based on like the posters and stuff, it seems like the threat is there might be like an evil Kong, or like an evil like giant ape is like threat, like might. I know the fan theory on like some places was like maybe it's like because like the eyes were like blue in the poster, so it's like maybe it's like it's some sort of like hybrid of like a Godzilla and a Kong, like like a Kong that can like breathe atomic fire or something. And that's why they have to team up, because it's like basically both. It's like this new threat has both their powers combined.
Oh, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about the monkey somehow having fire breath, atomic breath.
That was just a theory of like, because there's a poster, because they put out like 3 posters. Like one was Godzilla, one was Kong, and then one was like another Kong. But then a lot of people were thinking like, oh, is that like the main villain? Like there's like Star Kong or Star King or something, and then with like blue, he had like blue like Godzilla atomic eyes, kind of. They didn't really show like what the threat is. There's a lot of like weird like Hollow Earth creatures, but like not a lot, but not really like what the like big new monster that they're fighting is. There was another Kong who had like a skull like bandolero. So I mean, it's either like a whole like group of like evil Kongs, or there's like one new evil Kong or something. That seems like what the plot's going to be. And there's also like a baby Kong. which I don't know if that's if it's
Yeah,
like
I
if
saw
it's
that.
Kong's son or like just another young Kong.
I think it's just a young Khan
Yeah.
or like another ape thing. But I'm basing on the lore from that terrible King Kong game that they sort of just said, yeah, these are just monkeys on an island that just kind of were there and they kind of just disappeared.
Well, they all used to live in the Hollow Earth, like they used to rule the Hollow Earth, and they had the war with like the Godzillas and the Kongs had a war. That was like all the lore like Godzilla versus Kong. Because Kong found that like ancient weapon that was like the like Godzilla
Yeah,
scale
inside the
axe,
Hollow Earth
yeah, and the
battleground,
throne and
and
it was like the throne and everything, yeah, and then like
yeah. So I'm
ape
wondering,
skulls and
did this other evil Kong fight a Godzilla recently or something, or like what's up with that?
mhm. Yeah, I guess we'll find out. Kong also has like a metal arm or some sort of like mechanical arm now
I
too.
think it's
They
a
get
brace.
yeah,
I think his arm breaks, and then somehow they
like
craft.
Dan Stevens and like the human crew like give him like a a mechanical arm or like
Yeah, because I don't
a
think he loses his arm. I think it's a
biotic
broken
arm.
arm that gets like a cast, and then Kong just somehow uses it as his default weapon. But I'm wondering what happened to the axe.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
feel like that was super efficient.
Hmm.
You don't have to do anything else.
But yeah, it looks super wacky. Hopefully it'll be fun. Godzilla vs Kong was great. Like that was a fun monster mash movie. So, and Adam Wingard is back to direct after directing Godzilla vs Kong. So hopefully this will have the same, fun monster fights, fun story, even if it doesn't make any sense. So that's coming in April. We also got the first trailer for Furiosa, which is the long-awaited prequel to Mad Max Fury Road, which is coming out in May next year. George Miller is back to direct, as he's directed every Mad Max movie. And Anya Taylor-Joy is the young Furiosa, and this is going to basically tell a story about how she was captured and put into service for Immortan Joe. And Chris Hemsworth is there is like some character who is like looks ridiculous.
He looks like a parody of what people think Australians like do for fun and stuff.
Yeah. I guess he's like another warlord or something. He's like Warlord Dementus is Chris Hemsworth's character, I
Also,
guess
I would prefer if he didn't have like a ridiculous distracting nose.
yeah.
I mean, that's even before you realize what's going on. You're just like, why is Chris Hemsworthy looking like a mix of like Perot and then uh like I'm forgetting his character, but it's like the famous like romance guy with a giant
Oh,
nose.
a Cyrano.
Yeah, he's got like a Cyrano nose.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I'm excited. It looks like it's perfectly at set as a prequel. It has the same like cinematography shots, and the scale looks pretty good. You know how some people they do like a prequel movie and it's completely different from where the timeline they want to like set is.
Yeah, it's also like the Mad Max. I mean, it's all fluid. Like it's all kind of just like I think George Miller's even said like nothing. It like it the timelines don't matter. Like it doesn't like it's just like it's kind of just all this like everything can be standalone. It doesn't really matter. Like he's not like concerned about lore or like where this all fits with each other.
I don't know. As a lore nerd and as someone that likes continuations and world building, everyone can kind of piece together if you want to. However, you feel like this is the new era of Mad Max, right? Like it feels like it's that it's
Yeah, this I
definitely
mean,
it's a prequel, definitely.
this one definitely I feel is going to be much more tied into Fury Road. Yeah, the original trilogy are all super standalone. Like you don't need to watch any other one to watch the other ones. Like they all kind of they all do the same thing where they reintroduce Max, and then he's in some totally different crazy adventure.
Oh, the first Mad Max movie is the only thing I would say. The first Mad Max movie is that it just feels way different from where the series like leads to.
Well, yeah, because the first one, like things seem like like compared to like everything else, like it's sort of normal. There's like some weirdness going on, or it's like the apocalypse like just happened, or like it's like sort of just starting because like there's still like nice roads and like Max like it's but then like yeah when you get to like the next one with Road Warriors like it's just like absolute insanity like there's giant there's like you got the warlords with like assless chaps running around and crazy vehicles and
I'm
barbarians
understanding
and
that as maybe 8 to 10 years later from where they start from Mad Max,
mhm,
and then it just evolves like aggressively,
yeah.
where all Max is doing is probably going more mainland into Australia,
Hmm.
and Australia just looks like that. It's very inhabitable in the middle.
Well, I think the thing about Fury Road and this one is that they didn't even like they filmed it in like Africa or something. It was like it wasn't even filmed in like Australia or part of it was filmed in Australia and part of it was filmed like other places. But yeah, it definitely has that Fury Road like I mean Fury Road just like took like the aesthetics and of like Mad Max just took it to like a whole another level, and this like is definitely continuing that kind of uh style where it's just like huge huge set pieces like kind of like every shot could be like a poster or like a piece of art or something like um and hopefully it has like all the like crazy like practical effect, which I'm sure it does because George Miller is like always all about that. But like that was the thing about Fury Road 2 is like all just the practical like those guys on those giant like still like the giant poles and like the motorcycle guys jumping across like over like jumps and over the vehicles and everything. Like it was basically it was like a circus like performance at times with like with like giant explosions happening.
Right, right. It's very artsy in how they do the action scenes in Mad Max Fury Road in
Mm-hmm.
this. Where if you look at the anything from the original trilogy, there's no there's more of a realistic brutality to it.
Yeah.
Everything seems like just drunk guys having a fight in that series. Where in this, there's a little bit of choreography and then acrobatics that make no sense, but just looks cool. Especially when they're like, the guys on the poles and then, freaking Doof Warrior. Like, it just seems like way
and
more.
and the war boys like spraying chrome in their faces and
Yeah, I mean, it's silly. It's silly shit that if you try that in real life, just looks weird. But in the movie, it just makes sense.
yeah
Huh. Furiosa, though, I'm looking forward to it.
yeah
I had some reserve about it, but now I can understand what they're going for. But the only thing is Furiosa. This probably takes place 20 years, 15 years before the events of Fury Road.
I, they probably won't say they don't care
Yeah,
but sometime before we meet her in Fury Road when she turns to Charlize Theron. So we also from CCXP we got the first trailer for The Boys season 4, which is going to be coming out sometime next year on Prime Video. Which not too much plot wise in the trailer, but just it's like it seems like the big thing for season 4 is going to be there is a Homelander faction and then a Starlight faction, and they're going to be like that's like the instead of like political factions, it's like the superhero factions of like whose side are you on? Who do you believe? They're like counter protesting each other and fighting each other, and then um, probably also dealing with like the fallout of like Homelander's like murdering a guy in cold blood in public, and which they mentioned in Gen V. They mentioned like, oh, he's like there's some sort of trial happening or something. And then also Jeffrey Dean Morgan is joining the cast. Um, I don't. I'm not sure if they said who he's playing, but like definitely seems like some sort of like government agent or special like CIA or something or some sort of character like that. Yeah, they haven't said who he's playing yet.
I think they're probably gonna hold off just because it's probably gonna be some big reveal,
Mm-hmm.
some pivotal thing in the show. But in the comics, they pretty much have most of the major casts like already. The comic involves slowly with introducing more characters by the end, but you're pretty much strapped in with the main cast you have so far. And
Yeah,
if they do introduce someone, he's like out of the issue. He's out of the series by like the next issue. You know.
yeah. There's some new soup. There's some new soups joining the cast as well. And so that's gonna be kind of another wrinkle. And then also the other wrinkle is like you got the like the presidential election still happening with like Newman, who's gonna like is running for VP, but all of her like shady stuff that she's doing on the side.
You know what they don't focus in on? It's Huey's friendships he has with his like really close friends. You don't see them in the comic. I mean, you don't see them a lot in the comic because they're back in Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
But in in the in the show, they just don't mention that at all. Like they don't give him like an awesome non-human group of friends that kind of humble him, and they're quirky in their own way. Like in that world, everyone's kind of quirky, but they're not like superheroes.
Yeah, yeah.
And
The only people Huey like interacts with in the show is the boys.
I know that's why I'm like, it's just a lot of that. And then season two or the beginning of season three, he just is not part of them, so he doesn't really get to
Yeah.
hang out. He just it's his whole job is work,
Mm-hmm.
like his whole career in New York.
But then the only person like he was like really like interacting with was Newman.
Scarlet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's just like everyone's just spoiler alert, like superhuman.
mhm.
He's the only normal one, but again, that's why I feel like they're missing that just because you need a break. You need to kind of see why like a world with supers and without kind of works for both, and the gray middle. I feel like they might give him a friend somewhere if this
Mhm.
series keeps on going, if they really want to keep it stretched out longer than it is.
But yeah, so it's gonna be sometime next year. They haven't said when. But definitely can't wait for that. And then I'm definitely also curious how they're gonna, because basically I think they said like Eric Crickby, like the showrunner, basically said, like toward the end of this season, like season 4 of Boys is gonna basically kind of like lead off and hand the baton back to like Gen V, and so like whatever happens at the end of season 4 of Boys is gonna like lead into like season 2 of Gen V, and then end of season 2 of Gen V will lead into season 5 of The Boys, and back and forth.
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Well, I mean, there definitely was some huge kind of world shifting stuff that happened in Gen V that could like definitely affect like the main show. So we'll have to see how that like kind of works in this coming season. And then also on Prime Video, and also coming next year, is we got the first trailer for Fallout, the TV show based on the Bethesda series of games. Although the show is not based on any specific Fallout game, it's just it's set in the universe of Fallout, but it's not it's not like Fallout 3 the show. It's just gonna be its own thing. But the trailer looks it looks good. I mean, it looks like Fallout. They got all the like the costumes look great. They got like a lot of the like, iconic stuff. They have dog meat. They got the Brotherhood of Steel. They got ghouls. They got the vault opening up. They got the music.
The music's kind of important to Fallout.
Hmm.
I didn't think about it until Fallout New Vegas, but Fallout 3 really made that setting and atmosphere the new standard just
Hmm.
because like have you played a Fallout game before Fallout 3?
Oh yeah, I played the first one.
The turn-based one?
Yeah, well, it's not turn based. It's like top. It's like tap isometric, and then you like it's it's definitely old. It's like an old school. It's like original Diablo or something. Like
Just yeah, it's a dungeon crawler.
yeah,
But yeah, I didn't play the originals until 3. Then I had to play some backlog. I do
yeah.
appreciate that almost the series always takes place in a different area and slightly different times.
Hmm.
I think right now the furthest in the timeline is 4.
Well, yeah, 3, 4, and then Fallout 76. But it is like is that like a date or is that just like
No, 76 is
the
I think one
vault?
of the earliest. It's like when humanity is establishing these colonies.
Hmm.
So it's their like celebration of getting out the vaults and reestablishing the new territories and colonies and trade paths. That's what 76 is. But I don't think it's the latest.
Yeah, I think four is the latest one because I think that was like 2287 is the year, and then because New Vegas was 2281, and three then Fallout 4 is 10 years after Fallout 3, so it's like I think they've been going in order and like kind of like proceeding going forward more with each one.
Because I think 76 is like before 3.
Hmm. But yeah,
But I'm excited.
yeah yeah.
I'm more like on board that Amazon's making it than ever before, just because if you told me they were making it and this is before they prove themselves with a whole bunch of other TV shows, I'd be kind of questionable, you know?
And it's also Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy who brought us Westworld.
Which, they abandoned season 5 of Westworld just to get on the Fallout, so who knows? Halfway through Fallout, they might
Well,
get another offer and
I
then
think I think they
abandon that.
I think they left to do the Peripheral, and then that got canceled. But then now they're doing Fallout. So
Oh, they left you the Peripheral?
at some point they did the Peripheral between like Westworld and this. So
I just wish they just didn't do the Peripheral then. They could have just finished Westworld on a solid note.
mhm. But yeah, definitely looks like it's gonna nail tone. Hopefully this will be more in the toward the Last of Us side of the spectrum for video game adaptations.
Oh yeah, they could these shots could look so amazing, and the tone we're praising it, and then halfway through, the story's not about what we think it is, and it's all about like having feelings and taking off your Fallout outfit, and then like traveling back in time and
Yeah.
pulling basically a Halo TV show.
Well, also the thing that like gives me like a lot of like hope too is that that's gonna be good is like Goggins is there. So if Goggins is anything, it's usually great. He's playing like the main ghoul in
Oh
the
man,
show.
I thought you were saying that like because Todd Howard's gonna be like an executive producer, so
That I
he
mean
really wants to protect his IP.
that too. Although I mean I don't know, he doesn't really like he doesn't have any like
Movie credits or
movie or
anything. Yeah.
TV. Because that's the thing about The Last of Us is like like Neil Druckmann was involved in like very like helping writing and stuff, but then Craig Mazin was the one like show running it, like who did did Chernobyl and Oh, but also did like a lot of like weird comedies before that, like Hangovers and stuff like that. But then obviously Chernobyl like proved like, oh, this guy is like a great like dramatic TV showrunner. But I mean, but this one has Lisa Joy and Jonathan Nolan along with Todd Howard, so same dynamic, I
Creative
guess.
heads.
Yeah,
So it's not just randos.
yeah,
Did you see in the trailer from the people who brought you 2-day shipping?
yep. It was such
I,
a weird.
I thought that was a movie or a show, and then I realized, oh, they mean Amazon. Like it took me a second to get it.
They don't have another show they can promote. They don't want to say like Rings of Power or uh. Well, I mean, what else? That's what else they have. Yeah, they have Reacher and they have Jack Ryan, but like, yeah, I guess they could have figured out another show that would like match the tone of what Fallout is or something.
I guess not, because they don't want to credit like another thing where they want to credit like The Last of Us. They don't want to credit.
It's weird they didn't say like like from the studio that brought you The Boys and like the director, like the creators of Westworld or something.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
They want to make that 2-day shipping joke, I guess, or something. Anyway, that's gonna be April 12th next year. Actually, the same day as Godzilla X Kong. So you can go see Godzilla X Kong in theaters and come home and watch Fallout. And then last trailer from CCXP was we got the first trailer for season 2 of House of the Dragon, which weirdly was like one of the few shows that wasn't affected by like the writer strike or the acting strike because they had that British like exemption where like they were at different guilds, so they didn't have to worry about like SAG-AFTRA agreements or anything. So they've been plugging along, and I think it was basically in like post production at the time when the strikes happened. But summer next year is when season 2 is out. It looks like typical Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon stuff that we've come to know from the first season and the main show. This season is definitely it's digging into the Dance of the Dragons, the Targaryen Civil War, because we're in full on like the families are fighting each other now, full on.
Yeah, no holding back. Well, I mean, they might when it comes to when they finding each other attractive or something.
Yeah, but yeah, it looks like we're definitely gonna get some like epic battles. Dragons burning armies to the ground, and dragon battles, and hope it's a big like epic war season. And that is going to be summer next year. They don't think they haven't said like an official month or date yet, but hopefully that's coming sometime soon. So yeah, so tons of stuff coming out of that CCXP. I feel like in like the last couple of years that's been like that's been like a becoming like a huge like other convention, like tons of first looks and like first trailers come out of that convention now.
Think it's worth for us to fly to media, fly to Brazil,
go fly to Brazil, yeah,
spend like I don't know
thousands of dollars.
thousands just to fly in, and then I don't even know how the hotels work.
Yeah,
I know Brazil is constantly like a tourist destination. It's just hot all year long. So going to Florida is like a problem sometimes, just because if you go anytime that's like it's either like super hot summer, it's cheap, or winter. But even then, now people are more going to those kind of hot climates a lot more often. But I don't speak Portuguese.
yeah. Well, speaking of Florida, Chris, we also probably the biggest trailer of the week by far is that we got the first trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6, which is going to Florida. It's going to take place in the entire fake state of Florida, or like, is it Leonida? Is the
Yeah.
is the state is like the fake Florida state in the Grand Theft Auto universe. Yeah, the record most views in a single day for any video ever in the history of YouTube. And
It was Do you think they leaked it on purpose, or do you think?
I don't think they leaked it on purpose. They were like they did that whole like it's gonna be out. They set the dates at the time. I heard like I think the rumor like the speculation is that there was like it was like the son or like a kid of one of the developers at Rockstar like their parent like showed them the trailer like they had like somehow got a copy of the trailer and they're like they're like showing it off for like cred or something to their friends or like they're like look how cool I am. I got the Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer before everyone else does, and then that like leaked out. That's how it got leaked.
Man, that's how you get like canned and blacklisted
Hmm.
from ever working on big creative projects. I get if you work for something that's probably not as cool, but you're pretty much blacklisted when you ruined a world premiere trailer indirectly.
Hmm.
That is weird. I really thought it was a joke, but then I saw it. I was like, I thought this was tomorrow. Like, I purposely try to avoid social media like posting and try and do it on the day of that release, just because no one would be paying attention to anything besides GTA rumors, speculations. But I'm a fan. I, I pretty much liked almost all the GTA games,
Yep.
so I'm definitely gonna get it. Now, the issue is, do I care enough about the online? Because pretty much the first few months, people play GTA, and then it's all about the online support.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the story's gonna be super. I mean, there's gonna be tons of like. I mean, how long was GTA 5? Like the story for that, like that was at least like 20 hours probably or something like that.
Yeah, about 20 to 30,
I mean,
depending if you save the money. Like GTA 5 was hard and long if you weren't fat, if you just weren't doing a lot of side hustles to build up your inventory and then unlock a lot of things that generate more money.
it was 31 hours to beat the main story according to how long to beat.
Gotcha. Yeah,
So
that
that
makes sense. It was
that
longer because I did side quests and then I generated money. A lot of the trick, I don't know. I play GTA like that. Like I like to hoard the money early first.
but that I mean that's plenty of content that like without even if you didn't touch it online at all, that's like well worth the price of admission.
No, I agree. The only thing I am complaining about is that it has so much hype behind it that it's just gonna be a juggernaut of a release time, right?
Hmm.
And then this game's not gonna go away. Like, do you? It's like, is it? Do I need to play it now just so I can avoid spoilers? Like, when it comes out, should I just play it so nothing gets like ruined for me?
I guess that'd be the one. Yeah, you gotta figure out like, if you're okay waiting for it to
Drop in
drop
price
in
or
price. Or, yeah,
make some sort of like DLC pack. Because I bought GTA 5 when it was released. I got like I think like early bonuses, but it doesn't matter. Like after so many much amount of time, it's just all right. Here it is.
yeah. Well, if I didn't have any like story DLC, I just had like GTA Online at like.
But some of the online stuff took place post GTA 5,
Hmm.
like the storyline.
Hmm.
I don't know. I kind of like dipped out of that, but I'm not sure uh if some of those things were free or not. I feel like some of those DLCs were like every other one was free, but then everything else was like you have to pay for that pack if you want to. I also know
Yeah.
that GTA was making like hand over fist of so much like money of people just micro spending.
Oh, they have. I mean, Rockstar has millions, if not billions, of dollars to like GT. Like they have basically unlimited money to do whatever they want with GTA 6. They can just spend like ungodly amounts of money. It's like it doesn't matter like what the cost of anything is. They can hire any like celebrity they want. They can get any music they want. They can like have the graphics be like as crazy as they want them to be. Like this is gonna be like this is just like unlimited money. The game.
Yeah, but there's so much hype of GTA 6 that basically they're going to be printing money.
Hmm. So it's coming out in 2025. So it's still a ways off. It's going to be on PS5, Xbox Series X. That's the only two consoles they've confirmed for. There's no PC release as officially confirmed yet, and there are two main characters this time: Jason and Lucia, who are a criminal couple running around Leonida, including Vice City, and then other fake Florida areas and cities. It's like we're going into fake Everglades and into like definitely like redneck Florida and um it seems like they're also like leaning into like the like Florida man Florida like memes.
Everything, yeah.
It's like it's just like everything you've ever heard about coming out of Florida, any sort of like TikTok or like meme video you've seen of like Florida, like it's all like kind of included in this trailer. And like the whole like swath of Florida, like the most like super like high end glitzy like yacht parties in Miami down to like mud bogging in like the swamp.
Wait, what's mud bogging?
Like that, like just like people in like off road buggies just like driving around mud like there's
They
like
call that mud bogging?
yeah.
See, I'm a city boy. Did not know there was a term.
And just like gators and going to the beach and like yes. I wonder if there's because a lot of it is like TikTok or like Instagram kind of like style videos. Do you think they're actually going to have like a fake like TikTok in the game that you could like pull your phone
Oh
up and
yeah.
just like watch like fake like TikToks on it, or is that
I
just like
think
a
in
trailer
story
thing?
mode wise, probably there's people talking about like cool illegal stuff happening, and then they probably cut to that app because
Mhm.
they had, I think, a version of Twitter. They definitely had like a MySpace or Facebook in
Yeah,
GTA
I
4.
mean, you've
So
had you had phones. You've had a phone since four, like a smartphone since like four. That's all you did all your menus and all your stuff. And then yeah, there was like apps on there that you could like. I mean, you could go on the web and like go to fake websites and all that stuff. You could order cars from like go to like whatever the car website is and order the car or whatever. So I definitely would not put it past them to have like some sort of you could like make you like there's a fake social media or something going on that you could just like get lost in. I mean, they've had like full like fake animated shows and like TV shows in like that you could like sit down and just watch for however long on in like the other games. So yeah, I mean, this is gonna be like one of the biggest media things of all time when it comes out. So definitely gonna like we'll definitely keep an eye on it, and I'm sure we'll both be playing it at some point in 2025.
let's just pivot. Let's just be a GTA 6 podcast.
It's all we talk about. It's just GTA 6 every week.
There was TikTokers and those like YouTube shorts where all they specialize is in GTA or Red Dead
Mm-hmm.
Redemption Let's
Mm-hmm.
Plays.
Yep.
And I always think how long they have before the next game, and then they have to like pivot. But yeah, let's get on that early. Let's just
Mm-hmm.
rebrand everything GTA 6.
Yep.
I look forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yep.
weird that like we've grown up with GTA this long from our early childhood, like middle school to now.
I'm excited to see like modern Vice City and just see what that's like and see I'm sure they're gonna have like places that you recognize from the Vice City, but now that it's like the modern 2023 2025 version of it.
But this is where I asked you, I think before, where because the Vice City the game is actually in its own universe compared to the GTA realism universe from 4
Mm-hmm.
onward. So none of that carries over. They might have some locations that may look like that, but there is no like Tommy Vercetti. There is no history of that unless they recant that. Unless they say yes, that's all one shared universe now.
Well, I guarantee they're gonna have, was it Star Island where like Tommy's like mansion was and stuff. I'm sure there's, I'm sure that like Scarface Mansion is gonna be in this game that you can go to. Um, and probably some of like the nightclubs and some of like the like other locations that that you actually went into in Vice City, like will be there.
Also, I'm gonna feel old when I kind of miss the '80s music if I think about Vice City, and it's not.
Oh,
It's like modern time.
they if they don't have like a Vice City radio station that does 80s music, then they've failed. Well, didn't they add it in for like for 4, like the Battle of Gay Tony had the Vice City radio station?
I don't remember. I kind of just like sped run through the Ballad of Daytona.
Because there wasn't like an 80s or like kind of like a classic rock or like any kind of like classic pop kind of channel in 4, but then when Battle of Gay Tony came out, that was like one of the big things. Is like, oh, there's like the like 80s pop stations back. I think it was like Vice City Radio or something, or like Vice City something. But yeah, they definitely need that back because that was like obviously that's one of the biggest point things that like the OG Vice City, just like driving around at night with like Crockett's theme blasting or something, or Iran.
See, we've got
So
enough for material to talk about a podcast or GTA.
So, other news that isn't trailers, we got some crazy news this week that there is a Monster in My Pocket live action TV series in development. Remember Monster in My Pocket?
Ooh,
It's
yeah.
back in TV form. So, not a whole lot of news. So it's Westbrook Studios, who has produced Bel Air and Cobra Kai and Welcome to Earth, and then Ultra Rock, which was like a that was one of the producers in the Transformers series. Those are the two companies behind this. And then, but not really any details of, like what the show is or like what like it's going to be like what the plot is. I'm assuming something involving tiny monsters because that's the whole premise of the toy line is that it was like hundreds of tiny monsters.
They escaped, and then like other monsters had to go get them.
Well, that was the premise of like there was like one animated special back in the day that was like I think it was supposed to be like a pilot or like leading to a show and it never happened. So the only thing was that one special, and then they divided the monsters up into teams where it was I believe the vampire was the bad guy and then or the where it was like something with like it was like the Frankenstein like oh, no because in the because the NES game was based on that special too. So it was like the vampire and like Frankenstein's monster were like the two heroes, and then there's another like monster that was like the villain, and then they all got shrunk down because of whatever evil scheme the evil monster had. But I think the toy line didn't really have a plot. It was just like here's a bunch of monsters, you can collect them and fight them if you want, but there's no like overarching mythology or anything. Except for like the mythology of like this is the creature from the Black Lagoon or a creature from like Loch Ness monster or like a werewolf.
Okay.
I don't
I don't
even
remember
think
like the lore. I just remember I thought it was monsters chasing other monsters, small monsters.
that's what they tried to make like the one animated that was because they had to come up with some sort of plot for if it was going to be a TV show or a game. But I think the actual toy was just here's a bunch of monsters.
I had like four or five of those things
I had a ton of them.
because they didn't come in a pack. You had to like
Well,
buy.
they came in like it was multiple. It was like so there was some pack. It was like a pack of 5, and then sometimes they had like a pack of like 10, and then they had a bunch of different pack. There was like multiple uh skews of you get like a couple or a bunch or um, you know, two or three in a pack, five in a pack. Oh, and they did a point system, so that was like the only kind of like gamified thing. Is like some of them like some of them 25 points was like the most like the rare like big characters, and then some of them were like common ones were like 5 points or something. So, but I don't think they ever like there wasn't like it wasn't like a game where you could like come up with the rules. It was just like, oh, these are rare. There were 25 points.
So just all made up.
Yeah, because it wasn't even like because Muscle at least was like, oh, they're wrestlers because it was based on the anime,
Mm-hmm.
but and so that was like you're collecting these creatures, but they're all wrestlers, and then you can like have wrestling matches. And then this like Monsters in My Pocket was just a complete like mishmash of sci-fi and actual like folklore and fairy tales and like Greek myths and Bigfoot, like like cryptids that like might exist in the world. So yeah, so definitely curious how they're gonna turn that into a live action show. I would have to assume all the monsters are gonna be CG, and then there'll just be like kids or whoever is like interacting with the monsters be live action. Although if they had like actual, guys running around in like monster suits,
They get
that would be
shrunk.
they got shrunk. Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome. But yeah, we'll have to see that's in development right now. So if get ready for some nostalgia, 90s, late 80s, early 90s nostalgia. And then last bit of news for the week is that the Accountant, the Ben Affleck action movie from I think that was 2015. That was quite a while ago. We're finally getting a sequel to that. They've been talking about a sequel for a while. Gavin O'Connor, who directed the first movie, has been working with Ben Affleck. They actually reteamed it for The Way Back, like that Ben Affleck basketball movie that came out a couple
Oh, the
years ago.
sad one. Yeah.
Yes, so that was the same director, Gavin O'Connor, and Ben Affleck. Obviously, they reteamed, and while they were making that movie, they were basically talking about an accountant sequel. And now Amazon is producing the movie, so they're uh, you know gonna basically fund it, and it'll be like a theatrical / Prime Video release. Obviously, they worked this year with Ben Affleck on Air. That was a Amazon joint. So yeah, so they're talking about a sequel to. Actually, they're talking about two sequels. They're talking about like basically turning this into a trilogy of movies.
What?
And the second one, so, Ben Affleck's gonna be back to star, but they're gonna beef up John Bernthal's role and have him appear more. And then so the second one is basically gonna be so the first one we like learned all about Ben Affleck, and the second one they're talking about is gonna be we're gonna find out what like kind of John Bernthal's character's backstory and like more about his character. And the third one's gonna be a full on like team up between those two. They're gonna like team up and
Ooh.
do some sort of like final mission or something.
I'm okay with that. That's a good structure. I feel like if they were clever about it, they would have one movie where they pretty much introduce both characters. You don't know they're related, and John Berthal gets away. Like they actually never really meet. It's more
Mm-hmm.
like they keep missing each other, or John Berthal somehow like says "fuck this, I'm out." Like before the final battle. In the second movie, you find out like John Berthal, like it's more about him without realizing what's the point of why we're watching him.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third movie is now they team up and you know, they're going against the person that knows they're brothers and wanted to pit them against each other.
Yeah.
I thought about that because I thought about the movie The Raid.
Mm-hmm.
Same kind of. I mean, I like the idea that the brothers are on two different sides. They come from two different worlds, and like where their paths have been different. But now Jonathan Barthol, he has like the same training as the accountant.
It's just he's not autistic.
Yeah, he can't actually do accounting.
That's the only weird thing. Like, well, one of the weird things about the first movie. It's one of those movies where like autism is like a superpower.
Yeah,
That's like that's why Ben Affleck is such a great like assassin slash accountant because he's like
forensics accountant, not just a
yeah
regular accountant. Because if they had a regular accountant, Anna Kendricks would just be like, no, like you have missing funds. The end.
yeah
Forensics accountant was the pattern behavior that I guess it's really. I mean, I imagine it's really goddamn difficult, but he managed to do it.
because I don't think that was the same year as like the Predator, but like that was also the thing in like the Predator, like the Shane Black Predator movie is um
Oh no,
like,
the autism is a superpower.
yeah, because the Predator was like he is the ultimate. That's the ultimate. Like he's the ultimate one of all of you.
Yeah, he's the best human. This
Yeah.
small child.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he was able to
Jacob
decode.
Tremblay. Yeah. He was able to like, decipher the Predator language and Predator like technology with his autism.
Which, hey, more power to them.
But yeah, the first account was a fun, solid action movie. So I'd definitely be interested to see more from if it's more from that universe. And so that's it for news this week. So why don't we jump into show and tell? And Chris, what have you watched over the last week or so here?
Last week, we're busy with convention stuff, so I didn't get to cram as much. Well,
Yeah,
so before we talk about it, how about we mention PAX Unplugged?
yeah. So we were at PAX Unplugged last week in Philadelphia. We got to check out a bunch of tabletop games.
So like, we kind of came in there clean slate, not playing too many video games, not watching too many movies, just more get ready to play board games.
Hmm
So I thought about if I had more time, I would watch a board game based movie like Jumanji or
The terrible Dungeons and Dragons movie, or
like Wizards
was
and
it
Mazes,
Maces and Monsters with Tom Hanks? Yeah.
or a movie about, I don't know, like chance and
Z-
gambling.
Zathura, the
The other
Jumanji like
Jumanji
sequel.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, going in on PAX Unplug, good time.
hmm
Organization to get in was probably the worst thing. I think a lot of people have complained about that, but you can't. The convention itself, once you're in, you're not a problem. Like we had a good time once we're inside.
Yeah.
Uh, saw a lot of products that it becomes like a white noise, which like even trying to go through the photos and upload, it's just like I have to decipher what product we're staring at. Uh,
I feel like this year there wasn't a lot of um IP like movie or TV IP out there. I feel like other years there's
we
been
had to
like
hunt for it. We
yeah.
had to seek it out because we played a few IP products, but for majority of the thing, it's all mostly original things and
hmm
like no hype for IP products, which I don't mind because sometimes you play a board game based on something, your expectations are pretty high about it.
Well,
Maybe we
the big IP thing now for tabletop stuff is probably like Lorcana, Disney like Magic the Gathering game.
Lorcana, yeah, yeah. It's more like tabletop trading games. Those are constantly IP like every time. Someone has a good idea for a card game system, and then pretty much they get poached by some company that needs to merge famous characters and rare card making into it.
hmm
Like Magic pretty much owns that concept, but now because they start dipping into like crossing over to other IPs, which I don't know how that works in the lore, but it works as a game mechanic. Disney pretty much cut out the middleman and just says we've got so many characters and let's play around the lore, let's do that. And Pokemon doesn't need to team up with anyone else. Pokemon is just Pokemon. But yeah, it's insane. But I think this year we played a good healthy amount of like a mix of everything. Some years we play things that are heavy into battling systems. This year I think we played a lot of fun like
Party games.
party games, a lot of I guess like deduction, but like the only deduction game that stood out was, of course, Love Struck. Our
Hmm.
fun, trying to find the perfect match and trying to see who is on your team and who's not, and you learn that by social cues within the crowd.
That's
Then,
inspired by like reality dating shows.
yeah, yeah. Though, but you and I both played two different sessions that played out far different.
Hmm.
One was more basic, where everyone is playing like a tactician, the session you were in, and then the one I played, everyone was trying to tell like a giant like fantasy story about like our back lives and dating and then our preferences. It was a lot, man. Like I played with like an aggressive amount of creative women that like again told the whole world that when the game was over, I imagined like a whole life flash before me. It was like that episode of Rick and Morty where you play as like Roy.
Hmm. Yep. Hmm.
Yeah, that's what happened to me on a dating show. Otherwise, the only thing I think we just didn't really spend a lot of time on is playing a lot more foreign games, like the first looks. We took
Yeah.
photos, but we just had no time to sit there and kind of figure out the rules, like with no guide or
Pull out Google Translate and like
yeah.
try to.
I remember last year we played one. It was just a matching game, or it's a simple, like you just roll dice and you get to the end of the board. But no, there was one. There was like a complicated one. The one that I still can't figure out how to play was Cat Island
Hmm.
because that board setup was very complex. It was like
The one
ropes
with
and
yeah,
strings.
ropes and like the wooden dowels and stuff. Yeah.
Yep, just that seemed like a its own party game of assembling the thing. But yeah, we'll talk more about that hopefully next week when the article gets formed and laid out, and when I have time to post like the 200 photos I we took.
Yep. Stay tuned to the site for all that stuff.
Uh-huh. And yeah, for TV and things I've seen this last week, I watched all of Onimusha, the Netflix TV show, the adaptation of the Capcom video game,
Hmm.
and I enjoyed it. I I feel like the show's not really meant for the hardcore Onimusha fans. It's more meant as a fun, playful take on Onimusha that uh, I'm trying to phrase this correctly. That if you have just like the bare bones knowledge of Onimusha, of okay, he fights demons, that's it, and this is its story.
Hmm.
And it as an anime, it's fun, but as an adaptation, it's not the best. And I think like they really I think they preference it. I think when people talk about it and stuff like that, like they really try to tamper the expectation where it's like, no, no, it's inspired by. It's not a true adaptation. Just because they decided to go for a different angle, uh, that I'm fine with what they did. But they made it seem like do you know like a bare bones basis of Onimusha, Zach?
I just know like samurai fighting demons.
Okay, okay. So in the first few games of Onimusha, the thing is like there's a magical gauntlet that possesses the power of an Onimusha, which is a like a demon warrior, like an Oni, but it's like Onimusha is like you're a higher demon, and these are the demons that fight to vanquish Onis, and also like they are more guardians. But in the anime, Onimushas are bloodthirsty guardians that all they want to do is fight. They don't care about like saving anyone. They want to eliminate the opposite demons. And they're not like corrupt, but it drains a lot out of the user who wields his power. They spend a lot of time kind of humanizing the cost of giving into this ultimate power, which in the original game, like they kind of hint at if you kind of do this too long and you aren't honorable, like other Onimusha warriors have gone rogue, but that's granted because you have power, like power corrupts. However, in this version, uh, the person who gets the gauntlet to allow him to fight the demons is Miyamoto. Oh my god, I might mispronouncing his name. Musashi. It's like a very famous Japanese samurai who invented sort of like this discipline and his own sword style, and yeah, like he's pretty much like a famous real character.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is him outside of his prime. He's actually older now. He kind of is famous for surviving through these hard times, and he still kind of see himself as like a relic from the past. So him taking this job is sort of his return to the times he's most like meant to live in. So he he's drawn to the gauntlet just because he feels like he needs to step up his mission that he's doing because some Japanese lord asks him and like four other samurais to go and stop this rogue other like samurai. And the show, like, he knows somehow like ahead of time, and they don't really establish that. He just shows up and asks for the gauntlet, and he does like a battle test for it. He wins, of course, because if he didn't, the show would be over like an episode.
Mm-hmm.
And then he doesn't quite know when to use it, but he's aware that he should get it. So there's like a plot hole, but it's forgivable. Like he's never had the gauntlet before. He just been told it's a lot of strange stuff. And he goes, "Oh, strange stuff! Like I go get this gauntlet. This should help out, but we'll find out what it does later." You know, like it's very like a MacGuffin. And he tries to fight without it for most of the series. He'll put it on if it's like a Power Ranger thing where he doesn't just call the Megazord immediately. He waits and tries to do like a lot of fighting before he goes, all right, shit, it's getting worse. Give me the gauntlet. And the series is about their journey, like him and a few other samurais, plus a orphan villager girl that joins them to stop this other samurai and this like secret I don't know, like it's so bare bones in that sense when I'm summing it up, but some sort of secret plan that is just like supposedly gonna throw Japan like an endless war and then like teaming up with demons for this. So that like basically the world's gonna be in chaos. And Onimusha and then Musashi realizes that by the end, you know, he's like, oh shit, that's not what I want. Like as much as I want battle and I'm meant for it, like I want to get out of it. I know what I want at the end is not to keep doing this. So like the show has like a message. But if you were thinking it would be closer to the games were nothing like that by the end. Even in 4 games and a few spin-off games, they pretty much just said, okay, it's a tool. The Guardians want to see if you're worthy. They'll give you the power, but it's totally up to you to like, you know, use it discretionally, and it's not going to harm you. Where in the TV show, the Gauntlet kind of becomes like its own like entity, where it's like, oh, like shit, it's talking to him, it's demanding things, it it has a very kind of like sinister goal, but in the way they present it, it's like no, he needs the Gauntlet. Like he's not going to be able to win against straight up demons. Like even as much as he is, he's not who he was anymore, and like he's fought humans up until now. He's fighting legit demons, so use the Gauntlet. And
That sort of sounds like. Do you remember the like Shinobi like PS2 game?
the sword where he has a constant drain.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the sword is like has like some sort of like demon in there or something that needs to like feed on blood.
yeah. If it doesn't feed on like
It'll start feeding on you. Yeah.
yeah. This doesn't have that. It's very weird because by the last episode, the Gauntlet becomes like sort of it becomes kind of like a not an enemy, but definitely its own goals. And I don't know, like that to me was like, all right, it's falling apart. Thank God is the last episode because they kind of wrote themselves in a corner. I didn't quite understand why they had to make it so like kind of like they did like a few last minute twists at the end, which was interesting. But then I realized, wait a minute, like this is the last episode. This is like half an hour left. Like what's going on? So they keep doing that. I don't want to spoil it completely because I feel like it's still worth watching just for the style animation. Uh,
Yeah,
and
yeah, it's definitely a list because of the animation, and also because Takashi Miike is like the showrunner, like the main person
yeah,
behind it.
and again, he plays around with gore. He has a good sense of like absurdity when it comes to violence and humanizing people. So nothing feels quite out of place. He's like a good master of that. He knows that basically when violence happens, it should be shocking. However, when it's repetitive violence, it's just like, hey, like you're a warrior. Violence is gonna happen. I understand this. You're not a warrior, then this kind of is happening. You know, like his movies and his style when it happens it's happening because of like your profession or you're in a situation by sort of a choice or like
Yeah,
it's not like here's this random guy who doesn't understand his destiny. No, like this guy totally Musashi is a warrior, but now it's like do you want to keep fighting forever? And he thought he did, but like he realizes that like the guys who always do like never live well. So the series is good like that. Action wise, pretty fun. Every episode, I think every other episode has like a great scene and has some amazing like you know camera work. But once it starts getting to like like very anime level cartoony, you kind of lose that you're watching an Onimusha and now you're just watching like a regular anime. Uh, and lastly, they use the scan of a very famous Japanese actor. He's the I forgot his name too.
oh, it's the Shiromifune.
Yeah, yeah, famous for Seven Samurai,
Yeah.
Yajimbo. Also, maybe did he ever do a Musashi movie? No, he did. I think he did. So it's fun to see his thing, but because he looks kind of realistic, everyone else looks like way more fake.
Oh, like they put all the effort in him, and then everyone else is kind of like generic
Yeah,
anime.
yeah. It's like fan art, and then you see him, and he looks nothing like the anime character kind of guys, but you get like a big bubble-eyed girl, and you're like, what?
Hmm.
So they didn't keep the style consistent, but I get it. They want to make him stand out. Other than that, kind of a show that you need to, if you don't like it by the second episode, it's gonna get harder to watch. But I think it's clever. I think most people agree. But as a standalone product, if you come in playing the games thinking it's going to be a great adaptation, really step it back. However, as a standalone that kind of uses the original source for its own ways, it's entertaining. Like it's not like it completely off rails and doesn't make any sense. I think they chose a very fun basis of like these group of guys need to stop this small group of guys, and like they keep getting challenged by like not by a lot of numbers, but just by more increased like demon support. So it's like they keep battling one or two guys that are just like giving them a run for their money. So I like that.
Oh, this is also part of like Netflix's bizarre release strategy, where it's like Onimusha came out in the 2nd of November, and then literally the next day, Blue Eyed Samurai came out in the third.
Oh, so I'm like watching that now as a follow up,
Hmm.
and same goddamn tone almost, same kind of not the same structure, but the fact that it's very samurai based, and there is a little bit uh, of just sort of like overlap,
Hmm.
but different tone, different specialty. There's no gauntlet so far in Blue Eyed Samurai. But there is a magic sword.
But it's so bizarre. They were just like, yeah, two samurai things, like within a day of each other. Sure, whatever. We don't
Yeah,
care.
very
Like,
weird strategy. Like that's why I try not to marathon them together. I gave it like a good amount of time apart, but
yeah,
yeah.
you don't like give them time to breathe. Like these two
And
like
then
kind of very similar
yeah,
things. Like,
and then if I talk about it, I'm confusing the two.
mhm.
But yeah, that's it for me.
So the main thing I watched is actually something you showed me, Chris, when we came back from the con. Which was another Netflix thing, Saturday Morning All Star Hits, aka Smash, which came out 2 years ago on
Yeah,
Netflix, and then kind of like no one talked about it. Like you're like the only person that's like seen it or talked about it.
I'm just like, how's it not talked about? Have you not seen the love and care for this thing?
Yeah. So this is from Kyle Mooney, who was on SNL up until 2022, from 2020 to 2022. He also wrote for like Nathan for You, Nathan for You, and then he's done a bunch of like voice stuff and like a bunch of comedy. Like he's been on a bunch of comedy stuff. He was on like Arrested Development, like the newer ones, and he was in like he did some drunk history episodes where like he was the one like telling the story of whatever like historical event it was. And then the other thing I think the thing that like ties closest to this is he wrote and starred in Brigsby Bear, which came out in 2017, which is also kind of like this like meta kind of childhood television program kind of thing. That one, Brigsby Bear was like this guy who he was like trapped in a bunker, or, like he lived in a bunker with his parents, and the only show he could watch was this like educational show called Brigsby Bear. And then when he gets out of the bunker, he is like he like tries to he finds out like Brigsby Bear wasn't real. It was just a show like his like parents made up to like play for him in the bunker. But then he's trying to like make it like he's trying to like make a like actually make it as a TV show. Now he's out in like the real world. So that was like kind of like Kamui like kind of first foray to like these like weird nostalgia, kind of like playing off nostalgia for childhood television shows and stuff like that.
I gotta check out Brisbane Bear.
But I think that one definitely had like kind of a darker tone, I think, and Saturday Morning All Stars is definitely like a lighter, even though it has a great like surreal mix of like it'll just have like this like super upbeat like opening like animation style or like theme song, and then smash cut hard to like adult like serious drama, like pretty much right off the bat, because like the first cartoon they show is a show called Randy, where it's about this dinosaur that like is like friends with a group of teenagers, and it's like a parody of Denver the Last Dinosaur, which is like a ridiculous like 80s 90s cartoon about this like dinosaur who plays like rock music and stuff like that.
I thought it was something else. I thought it was based on like. Do you remember that like gum that like the dinosaurs would sell? It's like a purple egg.
Well, there actually, I mean, there was like a show about like a dinosaur that like befriends kids. Like that was Denver the Last Dinosaur. That was like an actual
I do
show.
not know that's actually a real thing.
Yeah, and he played he played a guitar. Like he wore sunglasses. Like it's everything that they're like doing in Randy is like straight out of like Denver the Last Dinosaur.
Really?
But the best part is like they had this that first episode of that show. It's like this super upbeat, wacky like theme song, and then hard cut to like Randy and his girlfriend having this like serious like breakup conversation.
Yeah, it's
which
juxtaposition of the two different tones of
which
comedy and tragedy.
which I love. That's one of my favorite things. That just like something this like super lighthearted thing, but then like make it like super dark and like serious for like out of nowhere.
It gets darker, but like I said, it's sort of just like it's sort of grounded in that reality sense of just like, oh, they're breaking up, and it's not because of some dumb thing. It's like they're growing apart, and it sucks to
Yeah.
see.
Mm-hmm. And then it's also it's pace, like it's perfectly paced where like right when it gets like super serious and a little smash cut to like a commercial or like back to like the wacky hosts. Just be like, whoa, that was crazy, bro. Like which Kyle Mooney plays both the twin brothers who host the show, Skip and Trey Moore. He plays both of them,
Yep.
and then I love all like the meta. There's like this meta storyline going on through like throughout everything, where one of the brothers becomes more famous just for like he has like a cameo on one of the shows, and it starts becoming like like he basically takes over the one show he's on, and then it becomes like it's a movie, and then like he becomes the famous one, and then like like the network's like pumping him up, and then like ignoring his brother, even though they're like literally doing the same exact thing. And then all the other like just like this other like weird like meta narrative about like the sitcom star that got murdered.
Oh yeah. It. I wish we could have finished it in one sitting because it kind of pays off if you pay attention to everything like that. I finished it in I think like 3 days,
Yeah. Hmm.
just watching it bit by bit, and then because I kind of forgot the subtlety, and because like you can, there's like pros and cons if you like marathon it, but the purpose is that if you watch it in the way it's presented in the meta lore, you get what I mean.
Hmm. Well, I think the last episode we watched together was the one that's it turns into like it's instead of like it kind of like breaks the format for like an episode, and it turns into like it's like the news show that's in this universe.
Yep. Again, there's a lot of creativity in this that I'm just shocked that they just they dropped the ball on the marketing.
Yeah, because I never heard of it until you were like, oh, have you heard of this? I'm like, no. Like, and it has like a legit voice cast. Like it's got like tons of like recognizable voice actors that you know, like Eric Bauza and Pamela Adlon and like Maurice LaMarche and uh, Kevin Michael Richardson, and then also like Paul Rudd is like the main guy for like the like Care Bears parody show, like Creator Crittles.
But
Which that is just like Creator Crittles is just like next level insane.
oh yeah, you watch. I think you finished the like. They don't make any more of that in the show.
Mhm.
Like it's another show. The
Or
Credit
just like
Crittles.
like the one episode where like it's just like the one episode ends where like Paul Rudd's character's wife like finds the Creator Crittles and she's just like, we're getting a divorce. That's how the show ends. Like episode ends. Cut like the super upbeat like Creator Crittles theme song.
Yep. Just no reason. Just if you lie to me, divorce.
Yep. My only complaint, which I think you said like they don't really like they do some throughout the whole show, but like I do wish there was a couple more commercials sprinkled in throughout each one, because commercials are so good and they're like so like well you know exactly what they're like parodying when they do it, but every time they like cut to, like commercial quote unquote, it's like one commercial for like and like it's like pretty short, and then they cut back to like the cartoons or the actual show, like the Smash show.
You wish that there was more for that.
Yeah. Like my favorite thing, like definitely my favorite thing of the ones we watched is that the trailer for that movie, like what was it, Video Game Wizard, the Video Game Wizard, where it's just like it just keeps building and like changing the plot every like 30 seconds in the trailer. Which I think there's other like fake trailers and like some other stuff that I haven't seen yet, but like they're all so good and like so specific and like so great. Like I would want more. I just want more of that. I think I mentioned to you like there's like I think it got taken off Shutter. I don't think it's on Shutter anymore. But there was a um this like kind of mockumentary movie called WNUF Halloween Special. That was like a parody of like a local news kind of Halloween special where like they send a reporter to a haunted house, and that had like I would say like 60% of that movie or like 40% of that movie was like fake commercials for like local businesses. And like if you lived in like kind of like the tri-state area, like like where we live, like like New York, Jersey, Philly, like that mid Atlantic area, like you if you watch that movie, you knew exactly what they're like parodying because you've seen like the local lawyer commercial that's terrible, or like the local restaurant commercial that's terrible. So yeah, that'd be my only complaint. Is like just like a couple more like fake commercials or fake movie trailers, like commercials for toys that are like insane.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm definitely gonna finish it. I'll probably by the time we next week's episode, I'll probably have finished it. And it's just like I love like that tone of like the surrealness of it, and the like juxtaposition of like super upbeat and like colorful, and then just like hard 180 smash to like adult, deadly serious, like dramatic. Like it's turned like a full on drama now, but it's like cartoon bears or a cartoon dinosaur with a backward baseball cap. That like I loved like Channel 101, like the Dan Harmon show that was on VH1 like way back in the day. They did that a lot on that show too. Especially like they had an animated show called Mr. Sprinkles that was like always like it was like because the whole premise of that show was like you'd vote on what thing you want to see like come back next week. And so like Mr. Sprinkles like ran through the entire like show like length of that show because everyone just kept voting it back every week.
He was essentially like a Cat in the Hat.
Yeah, it was Cat in the Hat, but then it got super dark, super serious. It's basically it was definitely Randy has the same kind of like Randy on this show has like this kind of very similar tone where it's like this like ridiculous character, but like dead like super depressing, horrible like real life like situations are happening to him. So yeah, I love that kind of tone where it's just like that mashup of like goof. This should be goofy, but it's weirdly dark and serious.
Yeah, should have watched it, but glad you like it now.
Yeah, Netflix dropped the ball on that one definitely. So, but yeah, if you haven't seen it, definitely head over to Netflix. Saturday morning All Star Hits. Check that out. Especially if you grew up watching like 80s and 90s like Saturday morning cartoons. Like there's gonna be like they do such a good job of just like perfectly replicating what like when you see something you know exactly what they're like talking about like like the one show with like the comedian that's like Bobby's World. It's just like obviously this is like the exact like tone and like the style of it is exactly Bobby's World.
But
and so
just the horrible idea of making any comedian.
Yeah, and like the horrible like plot of that episode. And yeah, and like the Thundercats episode like parody, and so if you grew up in like love like that kind of era of like cartoons, you're gonna know exactly what they're parodying, and then you'll be like, wow, they nailed the tone of this. So that'll do it for this week. So when we wrap things up, definitely head over to the site. We got all of our usual news and features. We got all the trailers we talked about earlier up on the sites. You should head over, check all those out. Like we mentioned, we're going to have our PAX Unplugged kind of con report up soon, so stay tuned for that. Actually, stay tuned later this month. We're also going to have our December commentary, our movie commentary, which is going to be Home Alone 3. We're going to do our annual tradition of watching a Home Alone movie. We've seen the best, we've seen the worst. Now we're seeing the rest.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the worst was like this isn't the worst. This isn't the best either. This
no,
is just
that's
like,
what I'm saying. This is the rest. This is
yeah. I'm also thinking this is a very unappreciated one now because I hated it as a kid, but as an adult now, I'm like, if I've seen the worst, I'm like, this one's not bad. At least the tone's there.
We've seen Home Sweet Home Alone, so anything is better than that. I don't think I've ever seen like 4 or 5, but I have to imagine they're better than Home Sweet Home Alone. But yeah, we're gonna watch that, and then stay tuned for that. That'll be up right before Christmas as our gift to you. And all the other reviews and features and everything else up on the site is up there. So head over, check all that stuff out. And yes, I'm Zach. And for Chris, I'm Zach, and we will see you next week. For more Everything Action, head to www.everythingaction.com. You can also follow us on Twitter @EVAction, on Facebook by searching for Everything Action, and follow us on Instagram @everything.action. You can also subscribe and get more episodes on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.